Greetings, Commissioners. This is Jason Hartgrave. I'm also with the Libertarian Party, also a concerned citizen, and perhaps even a patient in the future. But I would first of all like to applaud the board for taking a critical approach and to be thinking about this issue again. I think there's a lot of confusion still about what you think that has happened according to the legislator. But I will tell you that Florida statute number 381-986 is really what is important. It defines a dispensing organization as an organization, quote, approved by the department. So for any sort of dispensary, it has to be approved by the department, by the state of Florida. Now, unfortunately, the legislator did not pass their recommendations, but this is really on the Florida Department of Health, and those guidelines and those things will be given on July the 3rd. So July the 3rd is when we will get these guidelines. So nothing, even if there was no moratorium at all, could even begin to become an issue. Then there's another 90 days after this. So that would bring us to October the 3rd. So October the 3rd is when those guidelines will be implemented across the state of Florida. So there would be no medical marijuana dispensing facility allowed by the state prior to October the 3rd. So any moratorium that would extend beyond the October the 3rd date would really be violating that constitutional thing that the voters have really made it the will of the people. And just so you understand how many people in this area voiced their thoughts on this issue, there was 106,027 votes cast right here in Collier County for yes on this amendment. That's 64.3%. That's more votes than, frankly speaking, any of you received up there. And that is the voice of the people. Your constituents are telling you. And there's a lot of sick people in this community. There's people that need this right now. They are risking being locked up in a cage by Sheriff Rambosk to get the medications that they most definitely need. Let's talk for just a second about these conditions. This is cancer. I'm pretty sure there's no moratorium on cancer facilities or radiation, which we do know in uncontrolled doses could hurt people. We have people suffering from AIDS. We have soldiers that are suffering from PSTD. That means that they're basically living with a super high elevated level of cortisol all the time. There's people waking up in pain from Parkinson's disease, shaking uncontrollably. And the marijuana that we do have here in Florida, no, there's nobody that can get the type of strains necessary other than the low Charlotte's Web, which is only shown effective in some conditions. So nobody can get this right now, as you were discussing earlier, until this date of October the 3rd. So the moratorium, even if it didn't exist in this county, there would be no issue. So why are we creating an additional problem and an additional block for patients that need this? We also have a petition here, which I will give a copy to the commissioners. We had 400 signatures, roughly 400 signatures. There's some comments left by constituents. I don't know if anybody has a chance to read these. I could spend some of my remaining time talking about this. This is, Sherry Cecil, Naples, Florida. This is medically necessary not only for my son, but many other sick people. This moratorium is a disgrace to the voting system and the voter's voice. Andy Cassis, Bonita Springs. I have epilepsy, and they got me on all kinds of meds. I need this instead of my meds. This can help me in a big way, along with other people, with what I have. Elsa Brightman, Naples, Florida. I have MS. I feel this will benefit me, and on and on. I myself, You may have noticed I kind of walk a little funny. That's because I have a condition called MHE, multiple hereditary exostoses. So what that means is basically I have about 20 benign bone tumors, but by benign, they're not cancerous. They just cause me all sorts of joint pain and problems, fibromyalgia, etc. The only reason I mention this is one of the only people that were prescribed federally medical marijuana was somebody that was suffering from my condition. My condition was not listed in the Amendment 2. However, I have hopes that it would be considered a debilitating condition because I do know people that have suffered extremely from the very opioid epidemic that is given because we're prescribing people Oxycontins and other things that damage their liver and destroy their quality of life. As far as I know, we have had no medical-related deaths of marijuana overdose in Collier County, despite it being a substance that has been in our community for a long time, even if illegally. Thank you for your time.